In this video, I'm gonna show you the best high-end skin retouch for beginners in 2023. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you don't know me yet, my name is Silvia and in this channel I talk about photography, especially the high-end retouching techniques. My goal is for you to make more money with your clients with photos that stands out. But now let's go to the video.
There are many different ways for you to do the skin retouch on Photoshop and even in Lightroom. However, each technique will give you different results. The problem is that many times when the techniques are not done well, the skin looks very fake or too blurry, or you start losing the face structure, the contours of the face. So now I'm gonna teach you the correct frequency separation technique that you can use on your photos for your clients to have the perfect skin. We're going to be working with this photo. It has not been edited at all. This is pretty much straight from the camera how you're seeing. And what we're going to start doing for the purpose of this video is only the skin retouch. So now we are going to use the technique of the frequency separation, and pretty much what this is that you're going to create two different layers, and each layer we are going to work in different things. So the first layer we are going to only use the tones of the photo, the lights, the color, and the second layer we are going to separate the skin and the texture of the skin. So for us to be able to do that, you have your background, and now we are going to duplicate the background twice. So I'm going to press Command J twice. And I already have two layers here that I just created. I'm gonna stop visualizing the first layer and I'm gonna go to layer 1. And for us to remove the skin, because the layer 1 is what we are gonna call low frequency. And the layer 1 copy is the high frequency. Okay. So the low frequency is where we're gonna leave our tones, the light, the color of the photo. So what we wanna do is to remove all the texture. For us to be able to do that, you're gonna go to filters, and then you're gonna go to blur, Gaussian blur. And what we wanted to do here is to choose a radial number that it's not gonna make our photo to be very blurry like this, where we are kind of losing all of the details of her face. You don't know very well where the line of the light is because the skin is very blurry. But you also don't want to go with a really low number where you're still seeing the texture of her skin. So what you wanted to do is to go with a number where you are removing the texture. So I would say around 7, 8, 9, it's a good number for the photo. The number here that I'm using, it kind of depends if the model is close to the camera or if she's far away. You're gonna have different numbers for the Gaussian blur. So you just need to actually see and see what works best for your photo. Because my model is pretty close to the camera, my photo has a really good quality. So I think the number 8 here for me, 8.7, it's a really good number because I don't see the texture when you have the blur around her face. You don't see the texture anymore. You still see that the skin has like a weird tone. It's not very well mixed, but we don't want to mix this skin on her using the blur effect. We are gonna do this with another tool. So everything that we wanna do here is just to actually remove the texture. And you can still see the line of her nose, the contour of her face, you can still see the lips. So this is a really good number for us to start with. So I'm gonna press OK. And now I'm gonna visualize the first layer here, the high frequency. And we are gonna do another effect in this high frequency. So what you wanna do, you're gonna go to image, and you're gonna go to apply image. And what we are thinking here is we only want the texture in this photo. So everything that we have in the low frequency is the tones, the color, the lighting. So now in the high frequency, we only want the texture. And for that to happen, you need to go to the layer here. You need to select the layer where we are applying the photo. So the layer, the high frequency separation, we want to apply on the low frequency. So you're gonna select the layer low frequency. You're gonna leave channel RGB, and in the blending mode, you're gonna go to subtract, because you wanted to subtract everything that it's missing from the low frequency, and everything that's missing in this low frequency layer is the texture. So when you subtract that, everything that you're gonna have in the high frequency layer is the texture. So you're gonna leave opacity 100%, scale 2, and offset 128. And you're gonna press OK. And you're gonna see that in this layer right now, we are seeing all the textures. So everything that I have in this layer, it's missing on the low frequency layer. Okay, so we only have the texture, and it looks kind of weird, all gray, but we are gonna fix that. Now we are gonna go to the blending mode of the layer, and we are gonna select linear light. Perfect. Now it seems like the photo is all good and back to normal. If I go back to my background, the photo is the same thing, nothing changed. The only thing is that we created 2 layers to separate the skin and to separate the tones of the photo. To make everything more organized, I'm gonna select both layers, and I'm gonna press Ctrl or Command G, and I'm gonna put everything in a folder, and I'm gonna write Skin Retouch, because you don't wanna get confused with the layers. So now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna be working on the low frequency separation. So we're gonna be working on the tones. And before we actually start working in this layer, what I like to also do is to duplicate this layer, just so I have a backup layer if something goes wrong when I'm doing all the work. If I do something wrong, I have this backup layer here. So I'm just gonna leave low frequency copy. This is the one that I'm gonna be working with, and if something goes wrong, I have a backup layer right here. So right now, what you wanna do is we wanna make the skin to look smooth. So right now, at her face, we can see that we have something. I'm gonna just put everything black and white really quick, so we can see better the lighting of her face. So we can see that we have few parts of her face under the eye that it's a little bit darker, so we need to fix that. Right here too is a little bit darker, and we have some parts of her face that it is a little bit lighter. We can see that she has some bumps and zits and acne a little bit around her cheek, so we want to fix all of that, but we still want to keep the texture. And all the bumps and acne, what they are is pretty much just lighting. So that's why we want to play with the layer that works with the tones and the lighting, because when we adjust the light around the bump here, so she has a kind of a bump here, and we have like a lighter part on the top and a little bit darker circle on the bottom, and that's what creates this bump idea, this bump kind of zit feeling that we see. So it's pretty much working with light. So we don't really need to work as much in the texture. We need to work more with the tones and the lighting of the photo. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this. And we're gonna start working with the low frequency separation, that's the tones. We're gonna use the mixer brush. So you're gonna go to the brush tool, and you're gonna go to the mixer brush. And right here, you are going to select all the options that you have here, you're gonna do 30% for all of them. The last one, you're gonna have 0. And right here, you need to select this second option here. So for this to work. And what this tool is doing, just so I can show you, this tool is pretty much mixing all of the area that I'm selecting. So I'm here on her cheekbones and I'm pressing right now and making circles. So I'm kind of mixturing all the tones around this area. So that's what we are going to do to make her skin to be smoother. However, you don't want, here. You don't want, there we go. Okay, make sure that the second option here is selected. So you don't want to make it too much where you will start losing all of the details of her face. We are gonna be very light doing this process, and the way that you want to do is to press with the mouse. I don't know if you use a mouse or if you use like a pen. I like to work with a pen, but I can talk more about this later. So you're gonna click and you're gonna do some circles around her face. I'm just showing you right now how it works, but you're just gonna press and do circles. And you can see that her skin is already getting smoother, right? However, I'm just showing you here right now how you're gonna do the movement with your hand or with your mouse. However, what you want to do, you don't want to work with a big size of a brush like I have right now. So what you want to do is to have a little bit smaller size of a brush, and now you're going to start mixing her skin tones. And you can see that it's getting way smoother than before. So let me show you how it was before and how it's getting a little bit lighter, and like it just matching her whole area here that I just work. It is just matching and it's looking better. Okay, so you just want to keep doing all over her face, and you just change the size of the brush whenever you feel like it's better and it works better. And right this bump here, I'm just gonna do one twice. I did 2 circles here and it's already way much better, right? So this client that I have here that I'm working on her photo, she doesn't like this line going from the nose to her lips. So I'm gonna remove a little bit, make smoother right now with this technique. And around her lips too, this mark here. And with the nose, just be careful to not change or not lose the lines of her nose, because you don't want to change her face structure necessarily. I like to do a little bit here on the makeup too. Now let's go to the forehead. In the forehead, I like to have a little bit bigger brush. And look out to not work on her hair or at the line of her hair here, because then you start creating a problem just like I did right now. So you want to be careful and go with a smaller brush size to not get her hair. Okay. On her eyebrow, if you notice here, she has a little bit lighter color, size, and tones than the rest of her eyebrow. So I'm just gonna drag a little bit of the color here. There are many other ways that we can work on this, but in this video I'm just showing how you can do this with the frequency separation too. Now that we are done with her face, we cannot forget the rest of her body. So I'm gonna go to her neck now. And I just wanna make a little bit smoother. I don't wanna change necessarily her neck and make it seem like she doesn't have the 3D look, because sometimes I've seen many beginners working on the neck and just making one kind of color with no shadows, no light, highlights on her neck. And you kind of like make it look very, very, very fake. So when you're working on her neck and on her face as well, you still want to keep a little bit of her natural lighting and shadows, so you can see the neck more like in 3D rather than 2D, if you understand what I mean. So here is her bone. I want her bone to stay with this shadow on her bone, so it gives form to her body. The same goes to this side. Perfect. So now we have made her face all smooth, and if we compare to before, look how, there we go. Look at the difference from before and after. Before and after. So I didn't work on her skin texture to actually make her lose the zit or the bone or the bumps or the acne. It was pretty much just working with tones and lighting, just mixing her tones and lighting. So before and after. Now we are gonna visualize the high frequency separation that has only the texture, and when you see her skin, it is way better now. Let me see the before and after, before and after, before and after. And you can kind of keep still all of her texture. So we can see it very close, from very close. Her texture is still here. The only thing that would make it better was the tone, the variation with the tone, the variation with the light. We just made everything way smoother before and after. Now, one thing that you can do, because she has some skin texture, she has all the texture, and we can still see a little bit of like bumps. Sometimes I like to only work on the low frequency separation because I feel like it gives more of this naturally looking for my client, for the model. But you can still work a little bit better in the bumps here that we are seeing on her skin, like this here as well. It is way better, but she still has a little bit of bump. So what we are going to do is we are going to go to this spot healing brush tool, and now we are going to only work in the high frequency layer. So I'm gonna start here with this bump, and I'm just gonna click where I think that I can change a little bit of the skin. So every place where I see some kind of bump, you can kind of just click and it will clean the skin. There we go. So before and after, before and after. And it's still very, very, very natural. We can clean this. Now let's go to the other side. I still like to leave some bumps sometimes, so it looks more natural, because if you try to clean everything, you start losing this natural skin that we have, that everybody has, and that's when you start getting to the point that everything starts looking very fake. We can work a little bit with the lines here as well. Here we go. For me, her forehead is pretty much good. I don't care about the texture here because we are supposed to have texture like this. So it's beautiful. And you don't want to go also with a big size of brush like this and try to clean everything like this, because then you just made everything blurred. You just start losing her texture and start looking very fake, and you start losing the naturality of the photo. You see how it start looking weird? So you just want to go with a small size of the brush. Just be very calm, you know, take your time to do this part. And that's it. So this is really good for me. I don't have anything around her neck. Yeah, this is pretty good for me. Just around her, under her lip here, this part. Yep. You can even clean a little bit of her lips as well. But in this video, I just want to do the skin because that's the purpose of the video. And this is pretty much the frequency separation to retouch the skin that you can do. And here's the before. And here's the after. So before, after. Before and after. Click the like button if you like the result of this photo, so I know what you think. Now you know the best way to retouch your client's skin, which will give your photos a better quality of work. This is important if you wanted to get paid more with your photos, working for less. And this might take you a little bit of time to actually start getting better and better with this technique. But professionally speaking, this is the best way for you to retouch your skin. There are many other techniques, even using frequency separation. But for you that it's starting professionally, this is the best way for you to do the skin retouch. To know other ways to improve your skills to make more money with photos, check out my latest video somewhere. I'm gonna add somewhere here in the video, and also subscribe to my channel. Until next time.